Hello. Hi, welcome. My name is Asia Matos, and I am the CEO and founder of Demand Maven, where I help startups get to their first 100 customers or their first 100K MRR. This is actually my first website teardown, although I feel like I've been doing them pretty much my entire career since I've been helping SaaS companies and startups, and also just in my marketing career period. But the first one that we have is a really special one, but just because this was all completely done through Twitter. Uh, and here I am doing a website teardown for you right now. All right, so let's just get into it. I do have a 6-step system. I guess it's kind of 6 steps. It might just be 5. I don't know. We'll see. But I am looking at a few things. The basics. Does the website have just the simple things like customer testimonials? Do you actually have content on the website? Is it just like a blank page? What's above the fold? Then there's the copy test. Was the copy motivating? Did it actually make me kind of want to like dig deeper, dig further, and figure out like what it is that you actually do? The design, which to me is crucial, and at the same exact time doesn't always matter, just depends. And then for content, do you have the right pages? Do you have the things that we need to make decisions? And then the ultimate conversion test, which is, did I sign up or did I not? So we're going to get right into this. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so Client Sherpa, I'm excited. This is what you see when you first access the website. And right off the bat, I see friendly automated intake for attorneys. Okay, great. From first contact through consultation and signed fee agreement, Client Sherpa keeps your clients moving through a friendly process that gives you the best possible opportunity to sign them as a client. So when I land here, the first thing I notice is I actually waited a few seconds before scrolling. And the reason why is because I actually thought that there was going to be an image loading at the bottom of this above the fold. So this is my exact above the fold. And I actually thought there was going to be more. And I waited. And then when I realized that, nope, this is it, I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have no other choice but to scroll. A couple of thoughts here. So from an above the fold perspective, I think that this completely depends on how this is converting right now. I do question whether or not this is probably the best way to go, but just because there's nothing apart from words that's going to encourage me or entice me to scroll. And I am trained as a marketer, and especially as a SaaS marketer, to scroll through this page. I would not take that guess. I would either have a have like an actual like image of a customer, like maybe having like saying something like some major outcome or benefit from your product. But I will say, copy-wise, I know exactly who this is for. I, for the most part, have an idea of what it does. If I know attorneys, and at least the ones that I do know, they don't really have like a CRM. They don't. They're they're not technophobes, but I would say that like there are some that have embraced it, and there are some who just kind of still use paper and like pen and paper, and like they print everything still, and like that's just how they roll. So I totally get why this was built and why this is important. I do like that you're using copy-wise also language that they understand, like from first contact through consultation to signed fee agreement. That is something that is very specific to law, and also just the intake process overall. Okay, so the first thing I also notice here as I scroll down, you've known you need an intake process. My first question, or I guess like rebuttal to that, is like, okay, bet, because do I? So maybe that just header like would need to be reworked a little bit. Design wise, this text is small, like small, like small doggo small. It's tiny. I don't want to read this. I'm not going to lie. It gives me anxiety, like being forced to read it. But I did actually beforehand. I did anyway. And I do like that you kind of have like that there's a better way, except I don't want to read any of this. So I'm just assuming you know what my pain is. But if I'm pretending to be, okay, so lawyer brain, your current setup doesn't work, whatever combination of email, PDF, Word docs, you're trying to duct tape together. Okay. You walk into the consultation praying that the client took the time to fill out the questionnaire. You emailed them. Okay, that's pretty legit. You waste precious consultation time filling in that questionnaire they forgot to fill out. You feel like an overqualified and underpaid stenographer. Okay, so spelling typo there. While your client's enthusiasm is dropping with every section that you fill out together. You email the client for the 5th time, asking them to return a signed fee agreement, radio silence. You try not to cringe as you decipher the client's handwriting while henpecking their information into Clio or My Case. Okay, a lot of this is the same. Like this is kind of the same. This is the same. Okay, yeah, you try not to cringe as you decipher the client's handwriting. Okay, yeah, I get that. You email the client for the 5th time, asking them to return the signed agreement and the radio silence. Okay, so a lot of this is like, there seems to be like a drop off between when people reach out versus when they actually like come into the consultation, and like you're hoping and praying basically that these people fill this out. Okay, fine. I feel like we could dig deeper into that. What is, based off of interviews with other attorneys, like what are more pains than just this? Because I have a feeling that like yes, like this is kind of just all the same pain to me. Apart from like the 1 to 2 that I see that are a little different, but these 3 at least I feel like are mostly the same, and we could probably dig a little bit deeper to figure out what is the friction that people are really truly feeling. Okay, so we scroll down some more, send some beautiful intake questionnaires. Okay, within a few minutes, he clicks a link, is greeted with a beautifully designed intake sheet, broken up into, okay, I love that. That's cute. I love that there's finally a product. So am I correct? Yeah, like we're finally seeing a product, just screenshot, like it's here. I wish it was bigger because I'm again like squinting to see like, okay, what is this thing actually doing? It also doesn't have any breathing room from a design perspective. I see like the bottom of like the next image below it. This entire row just needs to kind of like live on its own and like get some room to breathe, so that way that image can kind of like really stand out. I mean, it absolutely does. And also kudos, by the way, for having your website and your product like almost 1-to-1 with design. That's actually really impressive. Most companies just don't do that. Okay, so stay on top of your intakes. Okay, cool. Now this to me is like awesome. There's plenty of breathing room here. Again, I think that the image is really small. I think it could, if it could kind of like move over to the left a little bit. And I can kind of see like, oh cool, like that's what it does. But again, like I kind of wish that this was above the folds. That way I see it and I'm like, oh, okay, this is definitely something that I could get into. Your client now feels a whole different thing. Okay, so this is kind of like this is what the promise is ultimately. Any good website has or makes a promise. Any good landing page makes a promise. Your questionnaire is a pleasure to fill in. Reminders help them come prepared. Reminders help them come prepared. That's a little awkward. Wasn't really sure what that meant, but I get it now. Your professional approach wins their heart. Cute. I think that these are benefits, and they're good benefits. I think that there's probably something even more concrete and like much more like outcome driven, like how much time did you save? How much money is that? Or is if you dig even deeper into maybe even like the customer experience, like what is that like? So I think that these are good starts. They're good starts. I don't think that they're bad. They're a good start. Okay, here's what other attorneys say. Oh, okay, so there's some customer testimonials. Awesome. I'm very happy. So that covers one of the basics. So basics are basically, are there customer testimonials? Is there a call to action? Are you showing how either how the process works? Are you explaining like what can people expect? I'm also looking for a very strong value proposition. Like those are just like the very basic things. And of course, like a way to actually contact you. So I'm very happy to see that there is this here. Okay, so Sarah Gold Law Firm. Okay, cool. Okay, so a lot of, I guess that's the way that the attorney world works, is typically whenever you have your own firm, it's just going to be named after you, right? Which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so right off the bat, this is small, also very, very small. I think Sarah Gold should be like, she's like front and center, and people who come to the website can say like, I identify with Sarah Gold. Like that's exactly who I like. She represents me. I'm very much like her. This image is so small, and like I kind of wish that I saw like, I don't know, just more of Sarah. But yeah, these are tiny, tiny images. I also am kind of a little sad that, and this again is more of a conversion perspective, but most SaaS companies, when they first start out, they need to be able to show that they are credible immediately. So to me, this whole entire section should be placed much further up the page. And then of course, larger text, because I don't want to read this. I'm sure it says great things. It's been a struggle for me ever since I opened the practice 5 years ago. I've been looking for that perfect software package. Everything else is highly specific for specific fields or just too much for a one-person operation. I don't want to do task delegation to manage my intake. That to me is the most important sentence. That and like I've been looking for this, or I opened my practice 5 years ago. Customer testimonials should be directly correlated to what your business actually helps solve. And also, if you want to get extra hardcore, product features, so they can map directly to product features as well. If I get them in the office, I can close 70% of my clients. Now that is an amazing value prop. If her intake process isn't dope and she does not get them into the office, she cannot close those deals. So if they slip through the cracks via intake because of an intake error or because, for whatever reason, like it's just not there, she doesn't win any business. That's huge. That's insane. Like that should be at the top. Anyway, okay. If I can, it's closer to 30% of the ones I get in the office. I know they're motivated. Having an onboarding process would help me close more of those for sure. Yeah, she needs to be at the very top. Like Elizabeth, I'm not sure if that's actually how you spell her name, McGoey. She needs to be up front and center. Okay, and so this is the first like real call to action at the very bottom of the page. Next to, I mean, I see the try Client Sherpa for free, and we'll get into buttons in just a second, but okay, ready to put your intake process on autopilot. I think this needs to be like ready to close that extra 30% of your deals, but that's just me, fam. Okay, if you've gone for years out with an intake process, okay, yeah, like I get that. You owe it to yourself to sign up and get a fully functional standardized intake process that just works. Okay, all right. So overall, design-wise, very pretty. I will say it's soft, and I don't know that is something. And I mean soft by like all of these colors are not that saturated. They're actually they're like toned down, and they're kind of in their gray. I actually think that it gives you the peaceful feeling. I totally get like the peace. Like it's calming, but at the same exact time, it doesn't want to move me to take an action. Speaking of, there's two calls to action on this page, and they're the same call to action, which is try Client Sherpa for free or start your free trial. I think buttons wise, I think that this is almost kind of like it's like a ghost CTA where it's not really filled out, whereas this is like do it. It's green. I'm very curious as to how those two buttons perform, how one performs over the other. It would be very interesting to differentiate if you can from an events perspective, or just like adding something, like adding a query string on a unique query string on each of these buttons and seeing which one actually performs better. Or you can just use like a click map or a heat map. Design-wise though, I do think it's very pretty. I would push it to be something much more like I want to take the next step. I want to take an action. It is very peaceful. It might actually be too peaceful. I think when people come here, they might get too calm when they see this. And because of that, they don't want to like take the next step. On the flip side, I can't tell you, but just because I don't know your conversion rates. But that was my impression. I think it's pretty. I think it's soft, but it might actually be too soft. I would see if there's any way to maybe punch up some of the just overall contrast. I think that's really what it's missing. And what's interesting is like I see these buttons because they're green and I want to click them, but I know that I can't because really the only real call to action is here. Okay, so above the fold, we kind of already talked about that. We talked a little bit about copy. Design, we talked about design. Okay, content and pages. So something that I noticed about this website is you do have an about and you have pricing, and that's pretty much it. And after that, it's just like sign up. I click on about. How does Client Sherpa work? Okay, so I scrolled through this page because I was like, where's the founder story? I want to know more about the founders and like, who are these people? Are they lawyers? And I didn't see any of that here. So I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little robbed. Like I click on the about and I'm expecting to learn about the company and like how you guys formed and the people who are behind it. And also a good about page will also kind of make it about me too, like the viewer. But this is a how does it work page. I think that's extremely different than about. I would highly recommend separating this out and creating a very real about page because that builds credibility. It makes you look real. It makes you look bigger than you are. I know a lot of founders, they get nervous because they're like, oh, we're just a startup, so we shouldn't have like an about page. False. Most people don't buy tools from websites. They have no idea like who's behind them. I think you need like team photos, all of that. It might sound like overkill, but honestly, if someone comes to that about page and this is a how does it work page, they're probably gonna feel robbed too. But with that said, I thought the how does it work page is a great how does it work page. It's very pretty. I think that each of these rows needs more room to breathe. I thought for the most part the copy was good. I think it could be pushed to be much more intentional and active. Just want to make sure that we're not using too much passive voice because you've got a design that is very calming, but again, it might be too calming. And I actually loved this at the very bottom. Try it out for yourself, 100% risk-free. So what are you waiting for? Start your free trial today. I do love that this ultimately ended in a call to action. I am not a pricing guru, but I will say that I thought the page again it's pretty, it's soft, tiny text. Those are some rookie numbers. Gotta bump those numbers up. Same call to action that we saw on the homepage. Okay, great. So a big question from a content perspective that I would ask would be, what other things do attorneys need to see to sign off on this? The call to action is very clear. It's sign up, get your free trial right now. But are there other things that an attorney would need to see to feel much more confident in this? So for example, case studies. I noticed that there weren't any case studies. You've got testimonials, which are dope. Like they're great. That, especially the McGoey one, that was great. I would try to see if there's any way that you can feature customer stories, even if they're not like perfect case studies. The other thing I noticed was that there's no blog. And that's probably something that's in the works. And it might also just be something that like you just haven't tackled yet, but maybe it's because attorneys don't read blog posts. I don't know. But I did notice that there's no extra content beyond just the product. And that's probably very intentional. But I do kind of wonder, is there an opportunity to create something for attorneys, whether it's like templates or worksheets or something that would help them, give them value. It doesn't have to be a blog post or anything like that. It'd just be like, where's like their portal? Where do they go and convert when they're not ready to go and buy? Granted, your pricing is pretty aggressively like, this is super affordable. Any attorney, I think, would agree with that. So maybe, I don't know, it just kind of depends. Like I am very curious though, like how all of this converts in general. And then I think that would be your ultimate litmus test. And then, okay, conversion test. All right, so overall thoughts. I don't know that I would convert. I would convert probably out of sheer curiosity. I'd want to get in and just try it because you've got the 14-day free trial. I don't know data-wise if the 14-day free trial makes sense for you, but just because if I'm an attorney, hopefully I'm sending in enough intakes in that time to, like, I'm sending enough, or I'm booking enough meetings in that time to see value in that 14 days. I would be also very curious about your onboarding. But overall, I totally get what it does. I wasn't 100% motivated, but at the same time, could just be because I myself don't have the pain, so I'm super aware of that. But I am very curious how people actually come to the website and convert. That would be very, very interesting to know. But I would, again, just based off of some of the things that I saw, I would 100% make this above the fold something that people come to and instantly want to fill out. Otherwise, you're relying on people to scroll and they might get lost. And I think that is totally cool. Most people will read this because if they have the pain inherently, then they'll want to figure out how you're solving it. But I think that's the only thing that I would, and I'd probably like rearrange some things. You've got some golden testimonials, especially this one. Put that up, like move that up. You got to bump it up. I think you should at least. But okay, cool. Beautiful brand, extremely like everything is very consistent. So I'm very impressed. But overall, I think this is awesome, and I wish you the best of luck. And yeah, let me know how I can help. Cool. All right, that was Client Sherpa. If you are an attorney, make sure to check them out. And we will be back next time with another teardown and hopefully more. And by the way, like if you want to get your website torn down, I feel like I'm actually pretty nice. I should probably get more mean. But yeah, please send it to me. Suggest some websites you'd like to see totally ripped apart. I think Client Sherpa is doing a great job. Some things I would change, maybe test as well. But overall, pretty interesting. Solid. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks again.